Hello, this is Dief, and welcome to episode 13 of Dief's vlog. Today I want to talk about something that's been brewing on one of the message boards that I've been a member of for the past couple of years. And this is regarding differences of opinion between Canadians and Americans. This was brought about recently because of discussion regarding yesterday's inauguration of President Barack Obama, who's now the 44th President of the United States. I tried watching the ceremony yesterday. Unfortunately, my cable shorted out just before President Obama was supposed to give his inauguration speech and his swearing in, and did not come on again for another 5 hours. I eventually caught up with it later on YouTube earlier today. So yes, I did see the speech, so no worries there. Although I do hear that my cable provider is now providing it on there for free on its on-demand service, but that defeats the point. It should have been on when it was on. And sure, I might have missed it, but come on, 5 hours. Get your crap together, Rogers. Okay. So anyway, that's the getting away from what I want to talk about. So basically, on the message boards, we're talking about the inauguration yesterday, and there's a dispute between a couple of people that I know on there. One's Canadian, one's American, and they're talking about how the ceremony was quite overwhelming, and how, don't get me wrong, Obama was a great speaker. He has the potential to be a great leader along the lines of JFK. In fact, I think he's this generation's JFK. And I think he'll do some great things in office, provided like the lobbyists don't mess things up. But anyway, there's a discussion between a Canadian and American about how overwhelming the ceremony was, and Canadian says it was quite overwhelming and she didn't get it. Meanwhile, an American, she says, "Hey, if you're not American, so why are you creating such a fuss about it?" And I think it boils down to how the American media tends to sensationalize everything. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a great ceremony. Might have been overwhelming, maybe because of the moment that Obama is the first black president and ever in the 200-plus year history of the United States. So there was quite some historical significance behind it, especially. It was also like maybe about 45 years or so since the infamous "I Had a Dream" speech given by Dr. Martin Luther King. So there was historical significance there, but some people might say that the American media was trying to make a big production out of this, and that's the way the American media is. They always tend to really pump their chests over American pride and all that, and I can understand that to a degree. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with taking pride in your country. I'm all for it. Nationalism is a good thing, but Americans tend to overblow that. You need further proof, just look at the American coverage of the Olympics sometime. And you can see right there that like they tend to focus more on their homegrown interests and not pay much attention to the rest of the world's athletes. And I could understand that you can want to be more localized and looking at yourself as a nation, but you gotta realize it's a big world out there, and you can't just hone in on a certain percentage of the world's population like the Americans. Like they have like what, 300 million people over a population of 6 billion. So that is a reasonably good percentage, but you gotta realize there's more nations out there than just your own backyard. And that's one thing I like about Canada, because Canadians, we tend to look things as a world as a whole. Not saying the Americans don't, but the Americans tend to centralize more upon themselves in their culture, in their history, and all that sort of stuff. And they tend to look into themselves and not as the world as a whole. Now, I understand Obama was going to try to change that and try to make America more conscious of the world out there. And hopefully they'll make things for better. It'll give better understanding of the world to Americans and try not to be so centralized upon themselves. So basically, what I'm saying is, sure, Canadians, there's nothing wrong with them watching the ceremony. It's a lot better than watching some of our own politics. Need further proof they're going to have that big budget / non-confidence vote in the Canadian Parliament next week, and there's a good possibility that the government might be overthrown, or there might be sending us to another election, which I really don't want, but it could happen. But basically, American politics, I guess when you have a charismatic leader as Obama, then pretty much the whole world's going to gravitate towards them and not pay attention to their own politics. Now, I'm not taking anything from Canadian politics, but quite frankly, Canadian politics, we haven't had a charismatic leader like Obama since the days of Pierre Elliott Trudeau, and that's like a good 30 years ago. So you can pretty much get an idea how starved we are for a good public figure. So basically, Canadians, we don't mind watching the Americans, but we're just trying to like grasp how overblown it might have been, and that's not taking anything from Obama or the ceremony and stuff. It just seems to be a little bit of excess and overhype per se. But hey, like I said, first African American president in history, so you can tell they're going to go a little over the top about that. So basically, that's just my views on the whole subject. Thanks for watching episode 13. Episode 14 will be coming next week, and stay tuned for that, because I will be giving my picks for the Super Bowl that week. So again, thank you for watching. Have a good day.